everything that I've had here will be with me for the rest of my life, the people especially. I'm so grateful that I took the leap and joined this program because it's been hands down the best decision of my life.
Yeah, I'm not telling you.
Hey, want to take one? Dude.
Take one, Sam Zeff.
That just hit me between the eyes and said, this is the life that I've always wanted to live, is to be able to help others hold my stuff with me and realize I don't have to do it on my own anymore.
It's hard to put into words what 8 weeks, because it didn't feel like 8 weeks. It feels like I've lived a lifetime in 8 weeks.
I didn't know why other people around me didn't see what I saw. And so when I found this community, it was like, oh, finally. I feel like I have other people who just see the world how I want to see the world, maybe.
Like hustling to figure out who I'm supposed to be or what I'm supposed to do or what career I'm supposed to have or what kind of friend am I supposed to be, and trying to find the answer. And I could never find the answer. But through this, I just was able to realize that all I should try to be is me.
These last 8 weeks have been life-changing. I came into this definitely with a lot of resistance, and a part of me was like, is this really real? Do these people really love each other like this? And they really do. And it's just such an honor to truly feel that real depth and raw family love. And it was something that I was really lacking in my life. And it's just allowed me to go to deeper places of myself that I didn't even know needed to be healed. And being able to trust in people again and know that if I need something, these people got my back and they're gonna show up for me. And I've never had that before. So it's been so healing and transformative and has allowed me to really step into who I am and own who I am. So it's been beautiful and life-changing.
I think finally being introduced to people that remind you of who you are and your essence and encourage you to be your most authentic self and support you through the ugly and the beautiful.
This was what I needed to do, and I've just been at a point in my life where, on paper I have everything put together, a great job, a house, a family, and the core Daisy that I cherish and I love has been struggling to be out. When I looked at the website and was looking at the Mastermind, I was actually kind of confused because I didn't really know there wasn't a course curriculum or usually what you see with online courses, and but I watched a lot of the testimonies and just trusting, there was something inside of me that was saying that this was this was important and that I needed to pay attention. And watching the testimonies and kind of talking to Chelsea, and it was almost like a leap of faith. And I started the application almost as just testing it out while I was writing it. And as I was writing it in the prompts, it was this welling of emotion. I was crying the whole time I was writing it, and then I submitted it and I was like, I'm doing this. And then I think I sent you a message afterwards, and it just felt like my heart was saying yes, this is it. And then it was nothing like I predicted it was gonna be. And I think even in my application, I was like, I want to start, I'm starting a new job, and I'm I'm making all this stuff of things that I think that I want, and it was not that at all. And it was everything I needed and 1,000 times better that I could have ever imagined. And yes. It feels like years of work that I could have spent, and instead it was 8 weeks, and it was with a family that held me, and it was with people who are going to change this world, and it was a return home to myself and a remembrance of who I am and like what I've lost, like what I've let the outside distractions kind of like fog, and just like a reawakening of our true essence. And
seems like a lot, seems like a big amount of time, and I'm looking back a year and a half ago to when I did it, and it's a very short time. And for the 8 weeks to like be I don't know, to go into this like year and a half and still feeling the effects from it has just been massive to me. And even for myself, I was a bit like one of the older people going through the program and thinking like, oh man, this isn't gonna be like for me maybe, and just getting completely rocked, just like really experiencing myself, finding more purpose, finding my power, finding like who I really am and how I wanna show up in this world has been, yeah, real good.
Before I picked up Mastermind, I was actually already doing a one-on-one mentorship program, which I'm still doing. That mentor is also based here in Denver, so I'm going to see him tomorrow again. But I realized that like having connections with other people who are going through the same journey, that's what I was missing in mentorship. And I felt like once I was able to just kind of like step back from the world and just like kind of be present and like, hey, like, I do need to spend time with my inner child. I do need to spend more time with God. I do need to like ask myself the hard questions of, you know, how am I spending my time and like what do I value the most in my life? And that's kind of when like a lot of like the tears and like a lot of like the letters to self when I was younger and all that just really started coming to surface. I'm really hoping that like the tools that I used for my growth mindset kind of thing will push me to make career transitions and just, I don't know, just really try to like live into my potential.
Okay, so the Mastermind was probably the best thing I've ever done. It gave me community that I never knew that I needed or that was even possible. It gave me myself back in a way of like, I was able to be free and to fully be myself and let myself be truly just me, and sort of figuring out who that was and how to live like that was a really big deal for me. It was just like, it was family, and seeing that in person that soon, that early on in the program really helped solidify like what could be, and it just like, it gave me a lot more hope for the rest of the program. I kind of got excited, and then there was one point, I don't remember exactly which week it was, but there was one point in the program where I finally reached out for help, and that was a big turning point for me when I haven't been able to in the past reach out for help for a panic attack or anxiety, and I knew that people wouldn't run if I brought my problems to them, and they were there to fully support me and really just wanted to help and wanted to see me through it. And so that was a really big, really important to know that they would be there and they would still be there even when the hard things came up. Kind of taking charge of my own life and realizing that I can make the decisions that I want to make, not that society wants me to make or society tells me to make. And I think that was kind of also a big turning point of like, I'm in charge of my own life, and now I have the community to back me up with that, who will be there every step of the way supporting me no matter what choice I make, no matter who else is in my life at that point. It's just love tribe forever.
These last 8 weeks have been the best roller coaster I've ever been on in my entire life. And I'm an avid roller coaster connoisseur, so that is saying a lot. All ups, all downs, everything in between. The wholeness of this program has truly touched my soul, touched my heart in such a way that I never even thought possible.
Something I got out of this program that I didn't know was possible before, I would say modalities of self-connection through breath work, through how deeply connected you can be with people over a Zoom screen. Deeper than people I've known in person for my whole life. And also just the actual curriculum you wrote out of the questions and sitting with myself and answering those questions and being like, hey, now I have a safe container that like, I don't have to answer these the way I think this person would want me to answer these. Like I sat down and I gave myself a blank script of like, Kayla, you fit in no boxes, you fit in no religion, you fit in no family of origin, you fit nowhere. And it gave me a place to answer all of those questions of like, who are you? What's your vision? What's the need in the world? And how do you meet it? And what's your passions? In such a new way, knowing that like my truest self was gonna be welcomed in my small group, was gonna be welcomed in our larger group of family and community. And like I said, I've always been a very passionate person. I'm like, I know what I wanna do, I know where I'm going. And this affirmed my path in ways that I didn't think possible. And also this mastermind brought me peace and it brought me hope, which I thought I had a lot of before. Now I'm in a community that I know will be like, that sounds perfect, instead of people being like, that sounds crazy. Because it still is crazy, but the crazy dreams are also perfect because we're all crazy people living in a crazy world.
I have changed exponentially as a person. That is kind of terrifying, but the most exciting feeling on the other end too. Some things I really realized about myself, just how I behaved, where those came from, like going back to my childhood that I haven't like thought about and buried down, and then being able to understand who I was and how I want to be now is something so powerful that I'm like, I love that I went through that. And then also just having this sense of community where I'm able to share my heart and have other people share their hearts is something I've never experienced before, like ever, and didn't know it was really possible. I didn't know that was a thing. I thought that didn't exist, especially from, you know, the environment that I've been in before, and then knowing that this is like real, like actually happening, is so amazing. So just very grateful for having like a sense of community and knowing that these people that I met 8 weeks ago through a screen, and they know me better than anybody else in my life, has been an amazing roller coaster. And it's just like the start of the rest of my life. Like I feel reborn in being able to express myself and have other people express themselves around me, and being able to do that for ever now.
Has truly given me the opportunity to open up doors in places that I never thought was actually possible, physically, emotionally, spiritually. I mean, I have my family back. Like that's the most massive thing that I can say, that I've had these doors up with my mom, with my dad, and with my sister, that I've just felt like that was what I needed to do. That's who I needed to be in order to get to this place that I have imagined and envisioned for my whole life. And for the first time in my life, I thought and felt, well, the love that I've always wanted has always been on the other side of that door. It's up to me to actually open that door and let that in for the first time. And that's what I've been doing. So the integration part has literally allowed me to feel like I have my family back for the first time and as an adult. Being in such a diverse program, it gave me the opportunity to really see where some of my shadow work that I haven't actually looked at was. For example, speaking to someone who is a female 19-year-old, how can I connect with them and how can they connect with me? Because my former self would think, well, I can't get value from this person. There's no point, they're not gonna understand a 31-year-old male who lives in Philadelphia and they've lived in Texas, for example, for their whole lives. They don't get it. And then it took me some time to actually recognize that, if anything, they have more to teach me than I think that they do. And they're some of my best friends from the program, is that a few of the 19-year-olds that are in the program. And that's because I opened my heart to recognize that there's more than just another 31-year-old male who could teach me, or 32 or 33-year-old male who can teach me what I want to learn. Because I've been putting myself in a box for so long that says, I need to learn these things in order to get to a certain place in my life. And all that's been doing is keeping me safe, because that's all I know is all I know.
Because it's given me people who see me first, like completely see me for who I am, and then call me into more.
If there was someone doubting signing up for this program and they were curious, like, hey, if this is right for me, 2 words, do it. The reason I say to just do it is primarily because there's never going to be a right time to change your life. There's never going to be a right time to say, I'm ready to look at my shadows. There's never going to be a right time to say, I'm ready to do the deepest work I've ever done in my life. There's never going to be a right time to say, okay, now this is a time to really start to heal. It's more of allowing yourself the space to feel what you haven't really wanted to feel, because on the other side of that is the freedom that you've always sought. And so at the end of the day, what matters the most is, again, if you're going back to your heart and you're literally feeling from your heart and not thinking from your mind, that's what's going to lead you to the place that you've always wanted to be. Like, your pain is literally a gateway to your freedom, and that's ultimately what we want. We want to be loved and we want to feel free. And this is a way to get to that place, but you have to be willing to do the work. There's never going to be a day that you wake up and say, today's the day I look at my shadows, but it can be the day that you start.
For anybody who is on the fence of joining this program, 100% do it. And I'm not saying that because I just went through it. I mean, like, honestly, at the end of the day, there was like so many times where I was like, what do I care more about? Do I care about investing in myself, or do I care about what other people want me to be? And that was like the question that was really holding me back, because like, yeah, it's a lot of money, but like, you're not just like, you know, you're not just laying down money. You're like receiving resources, you're receiving like a family, you're receiving like all of this help that you probably didn't even think that you needed.
It is so worth it. Your future self is going to thank your present self so much, because it is going to open doors and worlds for you that you never would think possible.
Love in the nick of time.